Resilience! It is what makes us strong!
I ride White Lily Musketeer, Cecilia!
Welcome back, everyone. My name is Steven Rodriguez. I'm your true champion, and before I get started with today's video, I have a question for you guys. How many of you watching actually knew that there was a user for White Lily Musketeer Cecilia and that he had a ride chant? Bonus points if you can tell me the team's name that he was a part of during the Asia Circuit series for Cardfight Vanguard. Leave your guesses down below. Anywho, with that homework out the way, hello guys, welcome. That's right, today the RNG gods have blessed me and I have been able to build my Neo Nectar Musketeer deck for Cardfight Vanguard Zero, and I will be showing it off to you guys today. Given that this deck has been released earlier than it was in JP, I feel like that gives more competitive viability to it, because I feel like late game intercepts and late game board consistency is actually really cool in this game, and a lot of the really aggressive decks on ranked kind of can't handle that. So I'm excited to see and find out firsthand just how good it is on ranked. But before I do that, guys, if you guys are excited, please feel free to leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, and click that bell for notifications so that you guys know when my videos go live for you. I think like 55% of you guys aren't actually subscribed that watch these videos, so just know that I post videos 5 times a week. I do all kinds of TCG, anime, Vanguard content, so if any of that stuff interests you, just know that subscribing is always an option. Also, if you guys want some first-hand tips from me on your own decks, whether it's for Vanguard Zero, IRL Vanguard, or any other TCG you play, don't forget we have a bi-weekly series here on my channel and over on my Twitch channel called the Deck Doctor series. All you gotta do is join the Discord and leave your deck submissions in the hashtag Deck Doctor chat, and I will do a live review of them over on my Twitch channel. The next episode of the Deck Doctor series will be live over on my Twitch channel at 10 a.m. PST on the 26th of August. So definitely get excited, you guys. Links to my Twitch down below, like always. Anywho, y'all, with all that being said, let's go ahead and check out my Neo Nectar deck list for the Cardfight Vanguard Zero Set 6 format. Alright, boys and girls, here we are at my Neo Nectar deck. Now, before I talk about each individual card, I want to let you guys know that there's a reason why there's no Arboros Dragon in this deck. I don't have any. Yes, I got very lucky with Cecilia. I pulled 4 pretty much within the first 2 days of the event. Honestly insane. It was, believe it or not, harder to get all the double rares instead of Cecilia's, which I just find ironic. But I still have yet to pull any Arboros Dragon. If I had a full playset, or even 1 or 2, I would definitely throw them in this deck. I'd probably replace the 12k attacker, as well as this on-hit drop and draw card, so I can run more Arboros Dragon, because Arboros Dragon is a really powerful late game finisher for this deck, because he can pump up your rear guard columns if you have like 2 of the same column on each side. I wanted to kind of let you guys know that right away. There is an obvious change to make to this deck in the future once it is quote-unquote more complete. That is adding more Arboros Dragon, but for now I don't have any, so just run whatever you have. If you do have Arboros Dragons, fit them in, they do work. But with that out the way, here is my Musketeer deck. For the most part, I am maxing out on every single Musketeer card because I want to make sure that we have a lot of late game consistency using Cecilia's skill. If you guys don't know what Cecilia does, White Lily Musketeer Cecilia, she has 2 skills. The first one is Limit Break 4 once per turn, counterblast 1 to return 5 grade 2 or lower Musketeer from your drop zone to your deck to call 2 White Lily Musketeer Cecilias. Keep in mind, by the way, guys, that these Cecilias are not called from deck. They're just created out of thin air, so you just get extra copies of Cecilia put onto the board. A really cool combo you could do with this is like when you retire them, you can use the starter P Knight to then return those Cecilias back to deck, but I'll talk more about why I don't have that combo in here a bit later on. And her second skill is not Limit Break. Once per turn, retire a Musketeer rear guard to look at the top 5 cards of your deck and call a Musketeer. Really simple, super cool skill. If you have any cards in your hand like grade 3s, you can just dump them on play, cycle them out for potentially grade 2s or even grade 1s. Really nice, and it's kind of the main idea of this deck. The main idea of this deck is basically to cycle out all the cards you don't want for a board you do want, and all the while you're decompressing your deck, filtering your deck, and of course thinning your deck. And as we all know, deck thinning is deck winning. Now, before I continue, I want to stress that there is like another way you can build Cecilia right now, which is kind of like a hybrid deck, you know, where you play like the grade 2 and the grade 3 Gene from the first clan event, the recyclable heal trigger that calls you 2 grade 2s. Really cool card. I do think it works kind of well in this deck because it gives you like a really strong early game that isn't Limit Break reliant. However, my big problem with it is that it cuts into your grade 2 space for Musketeers, and as you guys know, Cecilia needs to return 5 grade 2 or lower flow of Musketeer cards from your drop zone back to your deck. And so sometimes if you have your genes get attacked or your genes get put in the drop zone, it becomes a lot harder for you to have enough Musketeers in your drop zone to actually fuel Cecilia's effect. So it can just make your late game kind of awkward, and I don't want to have that risk in my deck. I do think it's nice to have a recyclable heal trigger and a really cool early game sort of defensive and offensive technique. That's great, but I don't think it's worth the risk of losing your late game consistency. I just don't. Moving on, we have the 4 Musketeer grade 3s. This is the only Musketeer grade 3. He's the 13 on boost attacker. Really nice. He doesn't actually hit any good numbers in this deck because we're not playing Arboros Dragon. If we did, he could hit some super cool numbers. That's more incentive for you guys to want to play Arboros Dragon, because I think in the late game, if you have 2 of these boys on your rearguard circle and then you have like 2 7k boosters, if they're the same, both those columns get plus 6k, so you can make the whole column 26, which is super cool. Next up, we have World Snake Doroboros. I think I'm saying that right. He is Vanguard Rearguard. When this unit attack hits, you may discard a card from your hand if you do draw a card. He's nice because he can fuel your drop zone for extra Musketeers. He can dig through your deck for cards that you can draw, like PGs. So you never know. He can serve some purpose and consistency. I would definitely take this card out for Arboros Dragon in the future once I get some. And then finally, we have the 12k attacker. Again, this is in here because there's really nothing better. It's not a Musketeer, sadly. If it was, I would definitely play it at 4 actually, because it could be really useful to you, but it's just a 12k attacker. It's our 5th stand trigger. That's about it. So one thing you'll notice about the grade 3s is that there really isn't any good backup grade 3s. I definitely think you could run like main into trailing rows in this deck as well as a way to kind of fix this problem of not really having any good backup grade 3s, but if I'm honest with you, I feel like Arboros Dragon would just be better in terms of your late game power, and I feel like this is a very late game deck, not really an early game deck, so running a card like Trailing Rose just kind of feels like a waste. I do want to say though that we are playing the grade 3 Searcher as it is a Musketeer, and it can fuel our Musketeer board filling effects, but it can also have the added benefit of adding a grade 3 to our hand. So if we never have Cecilia or we have no grade 3, this can come in clutch actually, and it has come in clutch for me in testing. Moving on, we have the grade 2s. We are maxed out on every single grade 2 Musketeer except for the Iris Knight, because we again want to make Cecilia as consistent as possible, as she is our main plus engine in the deck. Even though Musketeers is a really good superior call deck, it's actually not an advantage superior call deck. It's what I would call a consistency superior call deck. You don't superior call to gain value. You superior call to replace units you don't want with units that you do want. So that's kind of the point of the deck. A really cool thing too, by the way, guys, if I haven't mentioned this yet, is that I actually have played Musketeers before. It's actually the only Neo Nectar deck that I've ever played was Musketeers. It wasn't this version of Musketeers, it was the Legion version of Musketeers. So, you know, it's a bit different of a deck, but the idea is pretty much the same. You want to make sure that your board is the exact same every single turn. Like, you have an ideal board state in your mind, and every aspect of your deck just tries to achieve that again and again and again while you deck thin, while you decompress your deck, and then you get triggers, and then you can outlast your opponent because of your amazing consistency, and you can gain advantage and pressure over them because you're thinning your deck. That's the idea of this deck, and that's what the grade 2s kind of serve. So let's go through them. First, we have the 12k attacker, Augusto. Super simple, 12k attacker for Musketeers. You need him. He makes good numbers. He can attack by himself, and he, again, is a grade 2 that you constantly want to see in the board, especially in the late game. This is the card that I would say I call the most. Up next, we have Lily of the Valley Musketeer, Kaivan. Really cool effect, Vanguard Rearguard. When this unit is placed, kind of allows one to retire one of your other Musketeer Rearguards to look at 4 cards from the top of your deck and call a Musketeer. This is, again, more reasons why we're playing as many Musketeers as possible, because almost all the effects force you to retire Musketeers as well. I wish you could just retire whatever you wanted, but you have to retire Musketeers. And Kaivan's really cool because I like doing like I love doing like a really early game play with Kaivan if I don't have Rebecca, where I kill the grade 0 to get something else in play, whether it be a damage adder or a 10k attacker for some extra aggression against the opponent. You know, early game kind of plays can happen with Kaivan and Rebecca, which is super cool. And then finally, we have the 4 8k damage adder, which is actually super cool that it's a Musketeer. Adds a lot of value to you. Because we're playing so many damage adders in this deck, our opponent kind of can't stop our limit break from happening, so we can always get our pluses against them, which is super nice. And finally, moving on to the grade 1s. As you can see, we have our 4 non-Musketeer PGs, as they are the only PGs that exist. Sad to say it, but you gotta play them. I wish they were Musketeers. Next, we have our 3 Rebecca. This is a Kaivan clone, is a grade 1, so when plays kind of one retire to then swap for another Musketeer. Really cool, adds to our early game compression, as well as, of course, to just overall overall board consistency. These are the cards that we use to replace our Cecilias that we superior call with grade 2s or grade 1s in the late game. We have our 4 10k attackers, again similar to Augusto. We just want her so that we can just get some good aggression against our opponent for very little, both in the early game and the late game. And then finally we have our 2 grade 1 damage adds in Mina. I've contemplated taking out the second Mina for a 4th Rebecca, but I don't find myself using Rebecca enough to justify that, and I like enabling my limit break, especially in the future when I'm running Arboros Dragon. I feel like I'm going to want more limit break enablers than anything else. But yeah guys, that's pretty much it for the deck. I think I've talked pretty much a lot about how this deck wants to play. I will say one big thing about this deck that I don't like is that it's lacking a lot of like natural aggression. You know, it has no real forceful play that it can do against its opponent. Just say, you know what, I'm going to push you this turn and see if I can kill you. The best thing you have are stand triggers and 12k attackers. That's the best you got. But with how consistent you are and with how defensively consistent you are, you can kind of just grind out games against your opponent. And finally, one more thing I want to point out is I did mention a cool combo play with P-Knight, because you do generate extra grade 3s with this deck, therefore you generate extra triggers, and P-Knight being the only card in Neo Nectar right now that can recycle your triggers from the drop zone, you can actually have some cool plays with it. The reason, again, we're not playing P-Knight is that it is not a Musketeer, and in the early game, if I want to get full value out of cards like Rebecca and Kaivan, I'm going to want to have a free unit that comes into play from the very start of the game as a Musketeer. Also, I will say again, running Kira here will sort of add to our extra consistency because we only have one grade 3 that we ever want to ride, and that's Cecilia. So running the grade 3 searcher just generally is kind of going to be a good thing until we get better grade 3s in the future. Alright guys, with that being said, that is my Musketeer deck for Neo Nectar in Cardfight Vanguard Zero. If you guys have any questions, feel free to leave them down in the comments below, or better yet, hop into my Twitch channel. I go live every Monday, Thursday, Friday. I do all kinds of things in just chatting, and I play a lot of Vanguard Zero. Also, if you guys have other Vanguard Zero decks, Vanguard decks, Digimon decks, Magic decks, whatever that you want to ask me about, don't forget we have a bi-weekly series here on my channel called the Deck Doctor series. The next episode will be live over on my Twitch channel on August 26th at 10 a.m. PST, and then here on YouTube at around like 8 a.m. PST that Thursday. So definitely get excited. Be sure to join the Discord as well so that you guys can be a part of the next Deck Doctor series. If you have any extra questions about decks that I've talked about in the past, or if you're trying to build new decks, not only for Vanguard Zero, but other TCGs you play in the future. And with that being said, you guys, let's take this deck on the rank ladder and see what it can do. All right, y'all, here we are for game 1, fighting against Narukami. Oh, man. Of all the decks I had to fight against, it's probably this deck's worst matchup. Oh my goodness, Narukami. I gotta be aggressive from the get-go, I think, if I'm gonna have any chance of winning this game, because late game Vermilion is just so hard to deal with for this deck, because our only like controllable source of offense and like defense is our grade 2s, and they just neutralize them all. Having those 2 PGs in my hand just sitting there is nice, as well as having the very clear ride of Iris Knight, because there's really no other reason to use that card, if I'm honest, and having the Cecilia in my hand means I can use Kira's effect from the get-go, so that way I can maybe hopefully get 2 grade 2s in play on my next turn, because I think the best thing to do against Narukami is actually get intercepts early, because unless they have a bunch of Desert Gunners in their hand, they won't be able to punch that kind of play, so you can like take early damage out of the equation, so that way late game damage is less impactful. But let's see what happens here. They're gonna attack our bros, which is nice. There's a Vermilion gone. Oh, another thing that could happen, by the way, is that he just never gets Vermilion. That'd be great. That'd be absolutely fantastic with me. Nothing crazy. Here comes the damage. There goes an Augusto. Ugh, I hate seeing my grade 2s go to the damage zone, because I'm not Angel Feather. I can't get those back. I cannot get those boys back. But here we go. Let's see. Cecilia. Okay, that's fine. So like I said, I'm going to ride the Iris Knight here. I'm going to go ahead and call the Kaivan. Use Kaivan's effect. Get rid of Kira. Get a Musketeer in the drop zone already. That's 1. Keep track at home, kids. And I can get a Rebecca or a Ruth. I feel like getting Ruth is fine here. And having her boost. I'll boost in this case. It's better to technically boost the Vanguard here, so I will. The reason why it's better to boost the Vanguard is that I do play stand triggers, but I can't get more than 2 damage in this turn no matter what happens here. So I feel like just putting it behind the Vanguard's best. Okay. A really cool thing about retired decks, by the way, is that they actually just kind of do help us out a little bit because they get rid of more of our Musketeer cards faster. So we can actually get a lot of value out of them because we can use our limit break faster without the need of like actually retiring cards ourselves. So that's like a neat thing that can happen in these kind of matchups. Because like he's gonna get rid of both my dudes in play, right? So that'll put 3 in the drop zone. If I top deck a Musketeer or I just get rid of the Cecilia that's in my hand, I just get like another one in there, which is super cool. There's Death Scythe. I don't think we use the Death Scythe skill. You're gonna use Scythe. Oh, you are gonna use Death Scythe skill. Okay. So I mean, oh, letting me keep my grade 1 Ruth? I'll take that. Thanks, bro. Thanks for that one, Chief. Because now I can use that Ruth as a way to make my board better. Because I might actually what I'll do now is probably try and get a booster for my rearguard Cecilia. That's probably what I'm gonna do because I want to push 4 damage this turn if I can. That's definitely my goal. 100% my goal is to push the 4 damage this turn, because if I do it this turn, I'm not really going to be calling that much defense because I don't really care about taking damage on the next turn. So if they do want to go for their limit break, which sometimes people do, it'd be good for us. Ooh, and I get to heal block them too thanks to this damage adder, so I'll go ahead and do that. There's another Augusto, I don't like that. Let's see. What's going to be the important thing? I'm going to call this Cecilia here and actually use Cecilia's effect on this. Because no, I'll do it this way because I want, like I said, I want 2 damage this turn. Well, now I'm in a predicament where I can just like use my limit break, but I don't think I have enough in my drop zone as of yet. I only have 3 in there. Yeah, it's not, no point going for it yet. 10k attacker. Yeah, I'll get this for the booster for Cecilia, and then I'll swing Cecilia rearguard unboosted, and then I'll swing Vanguard. And if I get a stand trigger, I can push 3 damage in theory, which is kind of cool. No trigger there. Boys and girls, here we go. Show me that stand trigger. Do it. Come on, game. Nothing. It's okay, though. The 2 damage like I wanted. Really good for us. Long term. We have 3 in there. We have Cecilia's effects to get another one in there. Whether or not he uses Scythe to actually kill one of my grade 1 rearguards will give us that 5th one that we need just to get our board back, which is super nice. Also, I want to point out that my opponent hasn't seen a single Garuda yet, so if they do use Vermilion this next turn, I don't think they'll do it. It feels like so not value for them. They'd rather use Scythe probably. It will actually be really good for us because then they most likely won't be able to use it again. And there's Dungaree. I'm more than okay with that. A PG and a draw trigger going away. More than okay with that as well. I don't think they're going to use limit break to get rid of my... They are going to use limit break. I mean, it's a free unit for me, right? Like I can make that into whatever I want on the next turn. So I think they're smart in doing that. But now they're going to use all their counterblasts, get rid of my Ruth. But then now all they're going to do is fuel my limit break. You know what I mean? What they get in there? It was a not trigger. Wow. I will say this though, their deck is full of triggers right now. I'm in for a storm of pain. Get it? Because, you know, Thunder Dragons. Okay, sorry. Bad joke. I'm the worst. It's okay. So there's the Jhin hitting us. There's a heal trigger, so now nothing is hitting us without triggers. Am I happy about that? Yeah, I'm fine with it. I can always get a damage adder to enable my limit break if I need it. Let's see. I'm expecting the trigger this turn. If they don't get it, it's very sad for them. Okay, there we go. But it's not the one that it's not a heal trigger, so that's actually good for us because now we can push probably a lot of damage this turn, especially if we get our stand triggers, which we haven't seen that many of yet. Only 1 actually, which is kind of nice. There's a Kaivan. And now, are they going to use Scythian's skill? They are! No, what are you doing? Now my drop zone is free. Now that 1 unit can become 2 units, homie. Come on, don't you know what this deck does? I will say, I will be forced to use Cecilia's skill, unless I type like Rebecca or Kaivan, I'll be forced to use Cecilia's skill first, her second skill, before I use her first skill. But there's that. Ooh. So I can like exchange this for 2 attackers essentially instead. So I think I will do that. Can I use my limit break? 1, 2, 3, 4. It's only 4, so I have to use the second skill first. So yeah, we're gonna swap. Yes, we're gonna use that. We're gonna get rid of you. We're gonna get Augusto. Yeah. Well, no, I'll get Rebecca because I'll get 2 grade 3s. Never mind. I'll get Rebecca. I'll put Rebecca here. Yeah. The question is, do I use your skill? I don't think there's a point. Is there? No, there's not. Activating my limit break to return those 5 and get 2 Cecilias generated. Now, I only have grade 3s in the front row, but we're playing a more aggressive game and not really worrying about defense. And I also have 2 PGs and only 4 damage after my damage ad goes away. So I'm not actually afraid of dying on the next turn. So we're chilling. And if I get a stand trigger here, he just loses. Or really any trigger potentially if he doesn't have any PGs in his hand. No triggers. Man, have I checked a single trigger this whole game except for that heal trigger defensively? I don't think so, but it's chill. We're doing fine. Alright, so there's 1. Now we know they only have 2 left maximum because they had to return that 1 that went to the bind zone. Have they revealed any others? No. But we have 2 PGs, 4 damage, and we have a full board of Musketeers that we can turn into pretty much anything we want to at any point in the game. So I'm very excited. Everything's looking up. It was a bit awkward not having, any grade 2s, but we would have lost it anyway because of Dungaree's skill, so it didn't really matter. The best I could have done was 1, if any, so it's chill. What I really want to see next turn is probably a Kaivan, so that way I can, whatever units are left in play, I can make them into whatever I need. I wonder if, they're going to try, yeah, okay, I was going to say, if they don't call a booster for that Dungaree, they might swing my rear guard, and there's no grade 2s in their front row, so if we do get next turn is the turn to get stand triggers, boys and girls. Next turn is the turn to get stand triggers, because they'll be very useful to us. Speaking of stand triggers, where were you last turn, you schmuckhead? Where were you last turn? What are you, a lily? You're a rose? You're black lily. Where were you, bro? Where were you? Let's see, do they get a trigger here? They don't. Oh my goodness gracious. Wow. And they have a lot in their deck. They're just getting really unlucky. Sad to see, but this does still hit though because it's 21k, which is nice. I wonder if they'll attack our rear guard though. Are you smart enough to do that? Why would you not attack my Vanguard though? I'm at 5 damage. You'll hit. I think he was doing the math and is like, do I hit? He does. Cool. Okay, so now we have pretty much full reign of making a board here, which I'm very excited about. Because also my opponent has given us 3 attacks. We know he only has maximum 2 PGs in his hand maximum, so we win the game this turn. I'm gonna try my best to play around a defensive if I can, but I don't think there's any way to since I don't play Arboros Dragon. So we're just gonna use our effect here, yeet you out of here. See if we can't get an Augusto. That'd be lovely. I'm going to put you here. I'm going to move you up, Ruth. I'm going to call Rebecca, use Rebecca's skill to retire Ruth and try and get a different grade 2. There's an Augusto. I will take that very kindly because I'll swing with Augusto unboosted first, then swing my Vanguard unboosted so that way I can hit no matter what, and if I get a stand trigger, I can maximize the value for it. Wow, no PG out the gate. Okay, that was a bit more anticlimactic than I thought it was going to be. That's game 1 in the books, boys and girls, against probably one of our worst matchups. We took a more aggressive line to try and achieve that victory, and it paid off for us because we kind of caught our opponent off guard. Good for us. Moving on to game 2. All right, boys and girls, here we are for game 2, fighting against, Shadow Paladins. I wonder if it's probably going to be Shadow Duke if I had to guess, because we're on ranked right now. That's the best ranked deck in the game. Very aggressive. I dropped PGs. I was like, PGs, please? Let's see. Good hand. We have Cecilia in our opening hand again. Very nice. And there's a PG. I will take it. We're not dying yet. And there is the Vortimer, yes. And we're going first as well, so that's nice. Ooh, I get to hang on to Ruth. Do I want to hang on to Ruth? Yes. No. Yes, for next turn. Because do I actually want to be aggressive here? I'm debating it. I'm definitely going to use the Ruth to boost, though, no matter what. I'm also definitely using Kaivan as well. Kaivan is definitely happening. Got to get that drop zone fueled so we can start getting as much defensive advantage as possible, because maximizing our intercepts in this match specifically is super important, because we want to make sure that the only time they're actually able to hit us for damage is on their Vanguard swings, so that way we can PG them or just take them and not die, because we wouldn't have been taking much damage before that. There's the Aryan Rod. I imagine they're gonna start thinning. Yep. Whoa, they're playing the Counterblast 2 draw a card. I think because they don't play that many domains. That's the only thing I could assume. That card screams, I don't have 4 domain. Neither did I for a time. Neither did I. Okay, so there's the Kaivan. We're gonna draw for our turn. let's see, grade 2. Ooh, Iris Knight, perfection. I'm gonna go ahead and ride that because now they don't have the grade 2 Vortimer, which I'm sure they do. They need to, they won't be able to match our 10k base, which is nice. Wow, I only got 1 Musketeer. Sheesh, bro. It's a good one to get though, because it's gonna be a good column to attack with. I'm gonna swing with Kaibon Burst, because this column's always hitting, and if I get a trigger, you know, or if they get a trigger as well, it's cool. 2 damage is better than 0. Besides, we can always trade in that grade 3 for a grade 2 later. It just sucks losing the trigger, you know what I mean? It's moments like these where you're like, P-Knight's a good card, isn't it? Isn't it? There's 2 crits gone, the third also within their hands, so they only have maximum 6. That number's going down and down and down, which is nice to see for our safety. There's the grade 2 Vortimer, as expected. Here comes 2 more free cards. Let's see what happens here. Watch it just be like PG. I'm like, ha! Let's do it. Let's get it. Let's see that and a Vibe car. Okay, I'm okay with seeing more trick. Oh baby, look at all those crits going away. All right, I'm happy to see Vibe cars when that happens, folks. I am happy to see Vibe cars when that happens. That's a lot of units in play, but they're not particularly the best ones he wanted to see. I'll tell you what. And there's the Nemain. So it doesn't have no Nemains. He probably just doesn't have all of them. Watch him just drop 2 more triggers and he just goes table flip if he could. I guarantee it, he would. He's gonna keep the 11k attacker. Smart, definitely smart. I'm probably not gonna attack it, but he's definitely gonna retire it anyway, so it doesn't really matter if I don't attack it. Come on, only 1 damage this turn, please. Oh yeah, baby, only 1 damage every single turn. Love it. Ooh, heal trigger, didn't matter, but it's cool. I have no Musketeers that I can retire, but I do have a 12k attacker that I can use just to like poke for damage. If I draw a grade 2, I won't use Cecilia's effect unless I want to get more Musketeers in the drop zone. Ooh, there's a PG, that's great. I only, however, I kind of need to use Cecilia's skill, sadly, just to cycle more Musketeers to the drop zone, because I want to be ready to use my effect when it becomes my turn. I will call this. Actually, I'll call this, because I want to have synergy with my stand triggers. And I could care less about having, you know, more damage than them. Heal blocking this early, kind of, there's no point, you know. If he heals, right? Also, I don't know why I didn't boost the rear guard. I was supposed to. Oh, and there's the stand trigger. Please don't bite me in the butt by getting defensive now. I don't know why I didn't boost the rear guard with Ruth. I was just like in my head for some reason. I was like, oh, he's cross ride, right? Okay, good. No trigger, never punished. Do I give him limit break? Yes. Yes, I do. Because I don't care about damage right now, and the more damage I give him, and the more resources he uses, there's the heal trigger, schmuck. It didn't matter though, it wouldn't have, I couldn't heal block him at 3, I can only heal block him at, I couldn't heal block him at 4, I can only heal block him at 3, but it's cool. Having this here, by the way, keeps it safe, question mark? It depends on what he rides, but yeah, there's the Duke. The Duke himself. He doesn't get rid of the booster, but the 11k on his Vanguard. I guess because he's not limit break, so and he can't be limit break, so there's no point in saving the booster slide if he's gonna swing Vanguard first anyway. I will say being at 2 damage, oh my god, whew, talk about good cards to get. I mean this not so much, but the Nemain, seeing Nemain or Vibe car off of Vortimer checks, so good. Jesus, he has 6 of his crits gone, boys and girls, and I bet you he's just drawn more and more. So I think we're a little safe from crits this game. We'll probably see 1, if any, which I'm very happy about. Very, very excited about that. But let's see what happens here. I wouldn't mind him getting a crit this turn, if I'm honest, because I'd have limit break then, which would be very lovely. Okay. The cool thing is, though, that I can always enable myself in limit break by getting any of my damage adders, which is really nice for us. Because the second I see one, boom, limit break. So you never know. Or if I just draw one, that'd be pretty cool too. Because then I could actually get value out of cards like Rebecca and Kaivon as well, and make my board quote unquote perfect, right? So let's see what happens here. But we're in a nice spot, I would say, defensively. But we need to see some damage adders this turn if we're gonna be in a nice spot offensively, if that makes sense, right? Like if we want a way to actually keep the game going and have the tempo keep up, we're gonna need to call some cards in order to do that. But let's see. Yeah, the best play is going to be just to use your effect right away get rid of the Ruth, and see a damage add. I don't think it does it matter which ones I get. It does. I'm gonna get the grade 1 so that way I can boost the grade 3s that I call. Cool. We're gonna get that. We're gonna put in the damage. What is it? It is a Ruth. That's cool. And I'm sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ah, the grade 3s don't count. So for me to do this, I'd have to call over this, which is fine, I guess, because I want to limit break. Do I need to limit break this turn? I actually don't need to use my limit break, if I'm honest with you guys, because of the 5k main. So we're gonna be a little weird this turn. I'm not in love with this that I'm doing, but it's better than I think kind of forcing the issue. This way I can keep my deck pretty thin, because I'm not going to be able to call many cards after I put 5 back, and I don't want to like compress my deck so much. Sorry, decompress my deck, I should say. And there's that, so that's cool. We could potentially give him 5 damage this turn if he doesn't get a defensive here, which would be just god tier for us. And there it is. Okay, so like I always say, boys and girls, if you can't give him 4, give him 5. So now he is at limit break, but he's at 5 damage. He does retire front row rear guards, guaranteed, or he retires his whole back row. We're at 3 damage. We have 2 PGs. It's very likely that we're not going to die. And next turn, we can guarantee our limit break, guarantee 2 attackers, and then who knows, guarantee an entire board if we see enough Rebeccas and enough Kaivans. So let's see what happens, boys and girls. Let's see what happens. So yes, that was definitely the correct line of play. It was the one that sort of maximized my tempo, but also minimized the commitment from myself, if that makes sense. Like, I didn't commit that much, and I got a lot out of it, which is nice. Always good when that can happen. And now he's going to swing with that first. What if I get a defensive? Oh, goodness. Now he needs to see a trigger, and he's seen 9 triggers of his deck so far, which is quite a lot. There's the heal trigger for him, which is so huge, especially with the 2 intercepts. So huge. But if we don't see a crit, we're good. Awesome. All right, I'm okay with this. Can you show me a defensive? That'd be super great. And there's a draw trigger. Oh, we get to keep our PGs intact. A draw heal, it's a little unfortunate, but it's okay. So we see those draw triggers. I'm going to get my 2 intercepts, and that means next turn I can guarantee survive, because what's going to happen... Oh, I can hopefully get 2 intercepts, I should say. Oh, there we go. There we go. Now I definitely do. Right, skip. So now we're going to move this back. Doesn't matter too much. We're going to select the ability. I want to select my limit break. Use that first. Good. We're going to get our 2 White Lily Musketeer Cecilias. We're going to use our second skill now to get rid of one of them, and then hopefully get a grade 2, maybe a Gusto. That'd be lovely. There he is. Awesome. We're going to call him right here. Love that. And now I'm going to call this Kaibon. Use his effect to then retire that and hopefully get a grade 1. Not as needed, but definitely would be nice. No grade 1s. We do get another Kaibon, which I wouldn't mind using this turn. Just to thin the deck some more, if I'm honest. Yeah, let's do it. Let's use Kaibon again. See if we can't get that booster for this rearguard column. We get another Kaibon! I don't need it. I don't need the next... do I use the Kaibon again? No, it's a waste of resources. I'm going to get the Augusto, which can attack by himself, which is pretty much like having a boosted column at this stage in the game. Now we have our 2 intercepts. We have our 2 PGs in our hand, so we're definitely going to survive on the next turn, and then all we need to do is push hopefully 1 more turn, and then we're good to go. Show me that stand trigger. Come on, you won't. Only 5 damage. Ooh, and the worst part is, though, is we don't know how many PGs my opponent has in their hand. For all I know, they have all 4 of them, which could be pretty bad for us if they do, because then they can guarantee survive whatever it is we do. So I'm a little worried about that, but let's see what happens. We also have 3 heal triggers in our, 2 heal triggers in our deck. There's one in my hand, and only 1 stand trigger, so it's very unlikely, but it would have been nice to see. Yeah, I definitely like that I kept that 1 counterblast, so that way I could use my limit break next turn and get 2 more free cards, and then obviously use my effect to fix my board and get guaranteed aggression. Okay, yeah, that's definitely I have at least 3 PG's hand, but he also has seen 11 triggers, so his deck is very thin though, so it's very likely that he's just going to see all of them this turn, which would be a bit frustrating for us, but it's okay. Oh, there's 1 PG. Okay, so now we know he only has 3 maximum. Nice information to have. No trigger as well. He will, of course, restand and draw him some cards. Nothing too crazy. And there's a critical trigger. Whew, that's his last one as well. Could have been trouble for us. Let's assume he has 1 heal trigger in his hand, because I don't want to have to like play around a potential 6 damage heal, or like assume that he's just gonna get it, right? Because his deck is so thin right now. If it's in there, he probably will get it. So let's see. We're gonna ride skip here. We have the guaranteed boosters, which is nice. I'm gonna go ahead and activate. Oh gosh, is there even a point? I think it'd be better, honestly, if I didn't use her Limit Break skill and instead used her other skill. Oh, wait, no, I can't even use Limit Break skill. What am I saying? I'm just being silly. Let's get... What's the one we grab here? Ooh, there's really no good one here. Ooh, there really isn't. We're going to get this so I can boost the Kaibon column. And then we're just going to call these 2 cards to Rearguard Circle. That's the best I can probably come up with here. Searching for a grade 3, not gonna be good. Yes, we just swing unboosted. If I get a stand trigger, it stands up for 18 or 13, and I get the power there, obviously, because it's just from PG. So yeah, if we see one of our stand triggers here, that'd be great. If we see a heal trigger here, that'd be great, because he has no more crits left, right? Oh, and there's none of that stuff, which is great, and he probably has guaranteed 2 PGs. So sadly, this game is not looking good for us on this end. Yep, there it is. Okay. Ooh, late game could not compress enough. I think I wasted too many resources, maybe. But to be fair, like, I wonder, like, if I see a heal trigger here, I think we're Gucci, because he's out of triggers, is my best assumption, and we have 2. Our deck is reasonably thin, but we don't have that many triggers in our deck. There's the heal trigger, so we did have it in hand, or we just drew it for turn. How funny would that have been if he 6 damage healed on us? Hilarious is what it would have been. But no, here we go. Let's see what happens. Yeah, that's all the triggers, by the way, too. So all we need is a 6 damage heal, and we just win the game, which is just a fun thing to think about. I shouldn't say we win. I should say we guarantee survive. Oh, baby, come, let's go, baby. Hashtag clutch heal in the comments, boys and girls. Just a little, okay, look, just a little taste, okay, boys and girls? Just a little taste of what you can expect from the TrueChampionSteven channel, okay? That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying, okay? Let's go, baby. Ooh, I love this game so much. Okay, here we go. Sometimes things just feel deserved, don't they? Ride skip. Let's see, what's the best course of action here? The best course of action is to fix this board. Let's see. Ooh, there's so many skills. There's so many skills. Oh my god, which one is this? Wait, why is it saying... I don't know which one this is. I'm not sure which one it's referring to. Hold up. Okay, there we go. Whew, I was like, which ability am I going to use? The best one to use, I think, would be the first skill. So we're going to retire you. Probably should have called this in case I got the Rebecca. But I don't think it matters here. It doesn't. So I'm just gonna get the August. Oh, but I want thin. Thinning is winning. Yeah, so we're gonna do it this way. Sadly, I should have called the grade 3 so I could exchange it, but it's okay. That was just a misplay of sequencing, because I was like, wait, it's giving me a swipe up menu. That's not what it normally is. It's normally a drop down menu or something. But it's cool. We thinned out 2 more cards, which is lovely. Lovely, lovely for us. All right, here we go. We're going to swing. We know he only has 1 PG in his hand maximum, so we guarantee to win the game no matter what we check here, but it's just like, you know, best to just be safe. I don't know. I'm just like always like preparing for the worst case scenario, even if the worst case scenario is impossible, you know what I mean? But there we go, that was game 2. A little bit of a sneaky win, but we still got it. It all counts. They all count. They all count. But there you guys go. That is my Neo Nectar Musketeer deck profile for Cardfight Vanguard Zero. Hopefully you guys did enjoy. I love this deck. I find it very consistent, very clean, and I just love the idea of compressing and having a really solid late game. As you can see, we were able to win both those games by leveraging our skills in a way that gave us the most tempo and the most advantage. If you guys have any questions about this list that I have not answered in this video, please feel free to leave them down in the comments below, or better yet, hop into my Twitch channel. I go live every Monday, Thursday, Friday. I do a lot of things in just chatting, and I play a lot of Vanguard Zero. Hopefully you guys did enjoy the video. If you did, be sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and click that bell for notifications so that you guys know when my videos go live for you. But with all that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. As always, I've been your true champion, Steven. Please be sure to work hard, rest easy, and live well, and I'll see y'all next time. Peace.